The next section of the Mind Persuasion Vault is Cialdini Persuasion. Dr. Cialdini has spent his entire career doing enlightening research into the world of persuasion. And unlike many other academic researchers, Dr. Cialdini gets his hands dirty. He and his team have been doing real-world research and experimentation to find out exactly why people do things. And over the course of his research, he's discovered what people call the 7 laws of influence. These are probably the most known about and the most widely used persuasive elements in sales, marketing, and persuasion. These are things like social proof, authority, scarcity, etc. But what you'll get in the Mind Persuasion Vault is something you cannot get anywhere else. And that is how to connect Cialdini ideas of influence to your product, service, or idea through linguistic presuppositions. For example, this means you can conversationally presuppose that your product is popular. You can conversationally presuppose that your idea or intention is backed by authority figures. You can conversationally presuppose that what you want your target to do is consistent with what they've done in the past, even if it's a brand new idea. This section of the Mind Persuasion Vault combines 2 extremely powerful persuasion technologies: the proven laws of Dr. Cialdini and the extremely hypnotic and persuasive language patterns of linguistic presuppositions. So, what's inside? First, we'll cover some common errors people make when applying Cialdini laws of influence, which keeps them from being as persuasive as they can. Next, we'll cover some very specific examples of Cialdini linguistic presuppositions so you can literally copy and paste them into whatever context you want to use them in. Or because you'll understand the structure, you'll be able to build your own. The good news is that all you really need is a couple of these Cialdini linguistic presuppositional statements. Once you've got a couple of them calibrated for your particular context, you can use them over and over and over again on different targets and get the same persuasive result. And just to make sure you get the most out of your conversational use of Cialdini elements of influence, we'll cover each one of them in detail. Authority: the scientific background and research that supports the authority effect. Examples of authority in everyday situations. How you can use authority in your own contexts. Social proof: the basic idea of social proof and the supporting research. Examples of social proof in everyday use. How you can use social proof in your own particular contexts. Scarcity: the basic idea of scarcity and the supporting research. Examples of scarcity in everyday use. How you can use scarcity to become much more persuasive in everyday contexts. Comparison and contrast: the idea of comparison and contrast and the supporting research. Examples of comparison and contrast in everyday situations. How you can use comparison and contrast to become much more persuasive in your daily conversations. Liking: the most overlooked yet the most powerful Cialdini element of influence. The basic idea and the supporting research. Examples of liking in everyday situations. How you can use liking in everyday conversations and situations to become much more persuasive. Reciprocity: the basic idea of reciprocity and the supporting research. Why reciprocity is the go-to tool used by world-class politicians. Examples of reciprocity in everyday situations. How you can apply reciprocity in your own life conversationally to become much more persuasive. Cialdini elements of influence are extremely powerful. They operate subconsciously and are irresistible. Linguistic presuppositions are also very, very powerful. They operate subconsciously and are very irresistible. But only in the Mind Persuasion Vault will you learn how to combine these extremely powerful tools to become far more persuasive than anybody else. Join the Mind Persuasion Vault today and become the most irresistibly engaging conversationalist they have ever met.